Well, good morning, everybody. This is Justice's Waiting Room. It is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. And I'm a socialist, so hey, I just want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Every day before we really get rocking in the morning. Morning, Bob. Morning, Deb. We listen to War by Edwin Starr. While that plays, or while you play that, I'm gonna finish feeding my animals. Yeah, no shit, Ange. No shit, Ange. So stand by. I was gonna make a really cute video where I picked my dog up and carried her little ass to bed, but I've never done it before, and I have this feeling the one time I go to make something cute, she flips out, and that doesn't look great. So y'all are gonna have to chill for a second. All right. So hold on. There's 15 people in here. Listen to me. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. Drink water. Eat right. Exercise. Control what you can control. Understand that an executive order is not a law, and and it cannot supersede an existing law. It's called an administrative coup for a reason. And here's the thing that we know: Donald Trump's an idiot. So are all the people that support him. And I'm gonna let y'all simmer on that. All right. All right. Yeah, so I have 4 dogs and 2 cats, and long story short, it takes more than 5 minutes to feed them. So I'm actually breathing hard. And it's not like I have to like chase them down or anything. Okay, I got great animals. They're sleepy time in the morning. Okay, yeah. Who the fuck is that person? Hold on just a second here. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Dogs are the best. Um, they're all almost all rescues. So in some instances, even when money changed hands, I'd still consider it a rescue situation. That dog that you just saw was to be bred. She's perfect and beautiful in every way. First of all, she's the runt, and she's the only one that has that gray mouth and the brown and the tan body. And long story short, my wife and I took a road trip down to Bloomington, Indiana, and we met the owner of these dogs. He played football for me. He's a really good football player, actually. And we went down to visit and just smoke and joke. And it turns out that he had a surprise litter in his bathtub in his apartment. Had 9 fucking puppies. And he brought uh, Pam out and showed them to us. Most beautiful dog you've ever seen, and decided he wanted us to have it. Like we bought it. We paid a couple $100 for it. But he said I saw the way my wife Taylor looked at Pam and knew that we should have her. So instead of being bred probably multiple times because she's gorgeous, why wouldn't you want to reproduce that? Um, Instead of that, she's been fixed, and then just so happens another player I coached and his girlfriend stopped by one time, and his girlfriend slash baby mama broke down and pulled the crate out of the car and gave us Edmund, who you'll meet at some point, and said they couldn't do it anymore. And judging by the issues that I've had with Edmund, with his personality, um, I can tell you that that dog was in a covered kennel 16 hours a day, and it yelped and barked and whined, and they didn't like it. As a result, I'm guessing like the neighbors weren't a big fan, and then when they were around it, it was loud, right? So he's has separation anxiety. Dog, dogs are just like people. They have personality disorders just like people do. Um, and then we have a German Shepherd that again and I hate to say like that. I don't mean to be a jerk when I say this. I'm not trying to be uppity, but the German Shepherd that we have, again, that was born in an apartment complex, not on like someone's farm who regularly breeds animals. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to like try to split it between homeownership and renters. That's not what I'm saying. I'm making sure to be very because I'm poor, just like y'all. I just served, so I only had to pay 1% down to buy a house. So, so understand. Uh, I just wish that animals were not being born in apartment complexes. Is what I'm really getting at, and I think that that's a rough environment to raise animals. That's all I meant. I just want to clarify that. You'd like to see all animals born in safe, sterile environments. I should have been like a veterinarian because I like really have like a kindred relationship with animals. Like when I go lay down on the couch to take like a nap or something, the dogs are on like laying beside me, touching me, right? Like I'm one of the pack. So yeah, I have brother and sister pit bull terriers named Edmund and Pam, or Ed and Pam. And then we have a German Shepherd named Ernie, a big ass German Shepherd. If I wasn't ready for her when she come at me, she'd knock me down 100 times. Because for whatever reason, again, it's because I'm here all the time. I work from home, right? I'm around them all day long. I feed them, I let them outside, I walk them, you know what I mean? I play with them. Uh, that German Shepherd straight up lunges at me, like all its weight, and it tries to put it on my throat because it's a big dog coming at a big person, right? But that little German Shepherd can hit all the way up here. I have to like defend myself. Um, but yeah, and then I have a older pit bull mastiff. His name is Commander Shepherd, and lives mostly a solitary lifestyle. Him and Edmund have nearly fought to the death twice. So what we decided was we love you both and want to keep you both. So they live separate lives, which is completely fine. Shepherd is a slow moving 90 plus pound pit bull mastiff that sleeps most of the day. Okay. And the other dogs are fucking wild and young and they want to run around a lot all day. And if they don't, they terrorize my wife. But that none of that is why you are here. So, just to tell you what's going on in my life. A lot of people, a record number of people have reached out in the last 12 hours. So, or well, about 10 hours. I started getting contacts about 10 p.m. last night. Donald Trump had I would call that like a press conference, where I think that was Mike Johnson, uh, unveiled their diatribe of dumbassery upon the populace. Yeah, but you see them as problems that you have to solve, right? Like anytime I've ever had a problem with an animal, it's just been like just solve the problem. And like you see what the solution is and you just watch it happen and you're like, that's why you pay them big dollars. You know what I mean? So it's like being a doctor. You know what I mean? I would never disrespect a veterinarian. Shit, my family, I was raised with animals. I've always had animals. I've taken my dogs to the vet religiously. Dogs over people all day. Um, I want to start out with this article from the New York Times where wishful thinking lies. Brazil charges the former president Bolsonaro with plotting a coup. Okay, I said wishful thinking. And then yeah, so here's what I got. I watched some clips. I'm not want. I mean, I was late today. Um, Donald Trump first of all tried to imply or said that Ukraine started the war in with Russia. And I just want to point that out that normally the invading country starts the war Donald. And that's on Vlad and Russia. And Wagner, by the way, fuck Wagner. NAFO. Okay. Slava Ukraine, Free Palestine. In case you knew what kind of fucking podcast show this is. Apparently, I don't say it often enough, loud enough, or fucking in the front of my show enough, where motherfuckers start to really reach out and ask me if I something about hating Jewish people because I'm not a fan of Israel. And I just want to make sure that you understand that your proximity to Jewish people does not make them a monolith. Your proximity to a Jewish person does not make them a monolith. And that overwhelmingly, Jewish people do not support what Israel has done, been doing. Has done slash been doing. Most intelligent people do not agree with the genocide in Palestine. There are an awful lot of people invested in it, though, and that is concerning. Good to go. I'm just going to make sure I tell my audience don't ever fucking go there. Do you understand? Like Donald Trump wants to turn Gaza, he sees Gaza as the Riviera. Do you understand? He's going to put a fucking hotel and casinos there and apartments and shit. Don't ever fucking go there. In a million years, not for fucking free. No matter what happens. Good to go. I'm hoping it just doesn't fucking happen. And I'm gonna like hang my hat on that not fucking happening. But on the off chance it does, god damn it, don't ever go there. Like, are you fucking kidding me? First of all, you talk about prime location for a terror attack. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Over there is not here. And also Donald Trump wanted to build hotels in Gaza, and doesn't he have plans to build in Moscow too? Like, his money's no fucking good here. You know what I mean? So yeah, uh, last night, Donald Trump said Ukraine started this war with Russia, which is fucking insane, because that's not true. Usually the invade. I saw a post that the CIA sent Alonia the first and last initial of 3-year or less CIA employees, knowing that they were committing espionage as a trap. Holy fuck. Everything he says is insane. It's exhausting. Well, here's the thing. I grew up with a bully, and I know that it isn't the same, Jared. But one of the things I've learned is you have to control what you can control, and you have to act as if. You just have to keep it moving. None of us are in a position to do anything. Protesting is fantastic prior to it turning violent. So again, I want to make sure I point out congratulations and thank you to everyone, and I mean it, really do. From the 5th and the 17th for all the time that you have spent protesting. Great job. You're a part of history, whether you like it or not. Okay. Now, moving forward, eyeballs. We are on the 28th of the month. It is a nationwide strike slash blackout. Like sit at home and do nothing. Don't spend money. Don't go to work. Don't drive your car. Don't even go buy gas. You don't got to do shit. Take a fucking day off. Okay? I don't remember the last time I did that on purpose, but that's on the 28th. Protests are already getting fucking started over last night's bullshit. Okay? So we're getting to it. I want to make sure we spend quite a bit of fucking time talking about the fact that Donald Trump's dipshit ass shit last night. He tried to say Ukraine started a war in which they got invaded. The fuck? Like all, and they lost. And they're like a little ass country. Like Ukraine ain't got nothing but like 3 million people in it and they beating your ass. Anyway, fuck man. It was tilting as hell. Okay. But then he also this executive order, and we just got to talk about it because nah, it's just ambiance. Your fucking name gives me life. Um, so he fucking posted executive order which makes him and his attorney general the sole people able to decide what is law. Okay? I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I tell you before you get your panties in a wad, unwad your panties. Any executive order is not a law. So do you understand? Executive orders aren't law, and it can't supersede an existing law. Like the establishment of the fucking judiciary branch of the fucking government. So at the least, it's a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. At the most, it's just another piece in this ongoing fucking coup. Okay. So you're living in unprecedented times. The government has been absolutely fucking overthrown. I have a feeling based on escalation, orders of escalation. Okay. So keep in mind, I'm still saying there's a reason they're doing it like this, and it's because they know that they've got 12 days. I know people are like, what? And it's just like, on whose authority? And it's like, he tried to fire all them FBI and CIA and couldn't even make it happen, bro. Who the fuck do you think? Like, he's powerless against this investigation. I'm telling you. Yep. He is for sure just a distraction. Everything they do is, oh my God, it's tilting. Right? Like, that motherfucker makes me so fucking mad. Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason he got into office, and the first thing he did was dismantle the FAA. That was to protect Elon Musk, and then he immediately went after the FBI, CIA. And keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. I'm gonna keep fucking saying it. He still hasn't fired Avril. Remember, there's a rhyme and a reason. There's reasons I say shit. Remember Avril at the Office of the Department of National Intelligence hasn't been fired. Hasn't given an all clear. Hey, remember that? Remember that? Remember that the the 30-day window ends in March. Okay? Yeah, other countries are stepping up to help Ukraine, yeah. But yeah, for sure. I want to make sure we spend some time saying, "Hey, thank you for everyone that protested. Great job." I literally was on my fucking way. Okay? The next date, well, it depends on how you look at it. The next date is February 28th. That's the national blackout. Okay. Yeah. March 3rd. So I always said give them a couple days. You know what I mean? They've got a lot going on. They've had a stressful start to Donald Trump's administration, and I'm putting it fucking lightly. Nah, I mean. So yeah. I mean, when you think about, hope we don't lose our allies because it's clown. I don't think we are. I think they all knew it was coming. Why would it filter out my links? Next date's March 5th. Yeah, March 3rd is technically the end. Remember what Kamala Harris said, you know, they don't raid people's houses for nothing. And that what precedes indictments? Sanctions. And were there not sanctions? There were sanctions. So can all y'all do it for 2Q? I don't necessarily know what you mean, Jolly. It just seems like a the guy cried as he was closing the Munich Security Council. Seen all the homes up for sale in DC. Yep, there were sanctions. Yeah. Yeah, Kamala Harris said what comes first, sanctions and then indictments. Motherfuckers get arrested, tossed on their face and shit. You know what always has always bothered me? And I know it's about racism, Jared. It almost entirely is about racism. So, like, anything that happens, it's most likely racist. If a woman was involved, it's most definitely sexist. Like, that's just the nature of things. People are bigots. It's just our default. Um, but yeah. Okay, reading and bidding on the election. Yeah, the Polymarket CEO. Or they're just trying to cash out, right? Or I mean, who would want to be a homeowner in Washington D.C. When you anticipate some level of violence? I'm guessing. You know what I mean? So what do I think's going on? So I'm torn because part of me knows that the only two politicians that don't stock trade are AOC and Tim Walz. So yeah. hmm So I would be cognizant of the politicians that are investing in prisons, private prisons. I would be cognizant of politicians investing in Palantir. I think that's Peter Thiel. But he's the one bankrolling ICE right now. Okay, maybe Congress knows they'll all be fired. Maybe. Like I've said, you got to understand there's 335 million of us, and I swear to God, as far as elected officials go, there's like 140. I would rather remove 140 people from power than all of us suffer. And whatever happens to Elon happens. And in the meantime, I had a pretty important. So the question was, what is going on? Okay, so here's what I'm hearing. Right, they're all stock trading and insider trading, and they're all trying to cash in. Donald Trump provides the kind of volatility that markets need. If you ever wondered why he's still in the public eye and why he hasn't just been squashed long ago, is because he's a media firestorm, a, a wrecking ball. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the most prominent sort of whisper is that everyone is scared to death. So understand, I wouldn't say I'm plugged into any communities, so I'm not trying to overspeak my presence. But what I'm largely hearing, like loud and clear, is people are operating out of fear. Okay. Now, if I had known this was all gonna happen this entire fucking time and even wrote a fucking book on this and like 6 fucking years later and da 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 and all this shit, all the things that we know. Um, I'd like to think if we were fucked, they would have come out and said it. If we were really fucked, I honestly think, side note, I honestly think Donald Trump only cares about himself and that he's not going to help people in these midterms. He doesn't give a shit about losing the House. He doesn't know he has dementia, right? There's a reason that this has worked out for him. He has dementia. Yeah. Yeah. So I got to think here's what's dumb. I gotta think Democrats win 2 or 3 of these special elections coming up. From what I understand, it's Western Pennsylvania, Western Florida, and Northern Florida that have special elections. And I'm gonna be nice and say Democrats win 2 or 3. And I think it just means that there's a stalemate in the House. Yeah. There's a reason that I'm like, we have to start the American Socialist Party. I'll bite the bullet. I'm not one of those people. I don't have delusions of grandeur. Do you understand? As I'm working to build this party in the background so that you have something to build off of, I realize I realize that it's an act of self-sacrifice to be the person that founds the party. Because what you have to understand is that the establishment does not want this to happen. The Democrats would love to be 70-30 to win an election versus a Republican because they're idiots. And that party is fucking falling apart. And it's falling apart slash caving in on itself. As you could tell, it's all going bad for the Republicans. Like, imagine being in power, having a House and a Senate that are Republican led, have a Republican president and a right leaning SCOTUS, and can't get anything done. No, there's no movement in terms of bills from the right. I think it's because they have to let Donald Trump run his course. That's what the Republicans think. We'll get back to establishment politics after we get rid of Donald Trump. Okay? And a lot of people, for the record, a lot of people are fine with that. Oh, so this is just about outlasting this idiot who's going to be an ineffective leader, who's going to do inflammatory shit that tilts us all out. But here's the scary shit. Good to go? This this mound of misinformation that we're under, this mound of misinformation that we're under, some people will never get out from under that. There's so much shit going on in the media. I fall victim to it too, where I see something and I want it to be true, man. I'm a person. And after I share it, I have to go back, right? I had to do it the other day and say, hey, my bad, that's not even real. Good to go. So, one of the things that I've realized is that I can be fallible. I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm not running for office. I'm starting a political party that I can promise you Democrats and Republicans don't want no beef with this. There's a reason that it doesn't exist, and that's because people are also afraid. And I'm telling you, we're at the part in society where we can't just be scared anymore, because that's why you voted Democrat your whole life, is because you were scared of the Republicans. And that's ending. The Republican Party is falling the fuck apart. Okay? They don't have, after Donald Trump, they don't have coherent leadership. After Donald Trump, JD Vance, they don't see. I wouldn't even be in the same. See, the problem that I have is that you blind. No, I feel like I see with perfect vision and clarity. The Republican Party, all all Republicans took money from Russia. Those are just facts. Over 100 elected Democrats took money from Israel. It's part of AIPAC. In fact, the largest recipients of money from AIPAC is Hakeem Jeffries. Okay. And understand, I don't have anything personally against these people. I don't know these people from Adam. Okay. But what I do know is your character speaks through your actions. When he goes into an interview last week and says, we're getting 1,600 calls a day and 400 voicemails, those calls belong across the aisle. I just happen to think when you say shit like that, people go vote for them too. And I don't think I want my party's leadership telling people to call the opponent, ask them to concede instead of being the opposition party, which is what the Democrats should be doing. And understand that they had to be told to do that. The Democrats had to receive instruction to wake up and become the opposition party. And what I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt is if we had an American Socialist Party, it would be over. Elections would be over until the Democrats and Republicans come up with a platform. Why? Because I'm starting this party, building an actual platform, having actual hard opinions and thoughts about things, and this is how I intend to govern or mayor or senator or be president, right? And for the record, you have to be very economically focused, and you have to be a good speaker. So it can't just be me. Good to go? So what I'm going to try to do before I Okay, Raymond Byron, let's talk about which book I should read about socialism and about how in 33 of 34 developed countries they have socialized medicine, but they don't. Not in the United States. All those healthcare companies have healthcare plans in all 33 of those 34 developed countries that have socialized healthcare. So why do they just charge you hundreds of dollars per person per month? Why are you so why are you so willing to give up your labor? Why are you so willing to give up your labor? Why do I need to read about dictatorship? Why do I need to read about dictatorship? I'm a socialist. I'm the farthest from that. I happen to believe that the people should govern. I think that unions are wildly important. I think equality is key. I think that everyone should have universal health care, education, income, and housing. And that it doesn't take great change to achieve these things. All you have to do is legalize cannabis federally or make a small change to the US tax code. So I'm not even advocating, but that's a lie, Silky. So I'm going to have to block you for spreading lies in my comment section. No, he didn't do that. That's not how that works. See, this is again, we live in an era of misinformation. What Doge is doing, what Elon Musk is doing, is not a service to the taxpayer. Say it with me. Yeah, I think we were just terrible at explaining it when we were little kids. The foundation of socialism is equality for everyone. And the idea that we want the government to turn out smart people, how do we get restricted? How do we get restricted? We'll be back. We were talking about socialism. We're talking about universal health care, universal education. How dare you come in my live when we're talking about I don't want people to die with a mountain of debt and report my life. But yeah, yeah, wild. There was like 80 people in there. So, but yeah, I can't help it that people don't understand. I'm not telling people it can't be paid for and it's a pipe dream. I have multiple. Uh, there's more than one way to pay for it, and you've just been lied to. I wanted to tell this story because I had this conversation yesterday with someone that I care about. We were talking about money. You know, in the last year or two, me and this person's life have both changed forever. This person that I was talking to, they were just like me, entry level employee, trying to do what they love, just trying to help people. And they got the opportunity to be the owner of the business. And now they're the owner of the business. And now they make big dollars and big decisions. And in the last 2 years, I quit the full time grind. I got my disability through the VA. I went back to school. Now I got a potentially really high paying job, right? So we're both in markedly different situations than we've been in the last couple of years, right? And I was talking to him about I'm starting the American Socialist Party, and I was asking him um where should I web host, right? When I get a website, right? And he was just like, I don't know. And then he was like, we've been conditioned that socialism is a bad word. And I said, let me make it really easy for you because he's a business owner. And I said, are you worried about theft? And he said, what do you mean? I said, people coming into your business and stealing shit. Are you worried about that? Like when somebody walks in the door, is your brain doing calculations based on what you see, like their appearance, that would lead you to believe that they would steal from you? Do you ever get a heightened sense of awareness when in your environment? And he said, well, yeah, all the time. So if the US government gave them a couple $1,000s a month and everyone that walked through your door, you knew they didn't have to pay for health care. They got a couple grand a month from the gov. They're not under the pressure and weight of student loans or a staggering health care bill. So they're more able to make a purchase. We would change how you approached everyone, right? And he said, "Well, hell yeah, I'd probably cook food out in front of the store, right? Every day would be a grand opening because I know that every day, every person that walks in that door is supported by the government. They got the dough. So that's the problem, is because when we sit and we talk about things like I want the government to give us all a couple $1,000s a month until you don't need it, until you can make a phone call and tell them just I don't need your 2 grand a month. I'm doing just fine. Okay. And why is that? Why do we need a couple $1,000s a month? Well, they're really worried about people having kids and people having degrees, and they're worried about people getting married and buying houses, right? They're worried about these things. Well, in Denver, in 2022, 2023, they gave 500 households $500 every Friday for 2 years. Okay? 2 grand a month for 2 years to 5,000 to 500 families. Sorry. $2,000 a month to 500 families. And do you know what the big staggering piece of data that came out of that? 42% of households produced a college education, got married, bought a house, or had a child in a 2 year window on that program. That's awesome, right? That's an awesome statistic. That's just universal education. Now, let me tell you this story. So I go visit one of my friends. I'm actually telling you two stories because I got to talk to two of my friends over the weekend. I go sit down with my best friend and we look at our finances. We've been friends for 12, 15 years. Good to go. We've known each other for a long time. Okay. I think that it can change. There's only 600 seats of government. There's like 600 elected offices in the United States. All you got to do is have people that have to be members of the party, but hear what I'm saying. And obviously, it'd be nice if you were like a lawyer or like you were previously an elected official. That'd be great. Okay. You don't need media training. You just need to have some balls. You know what I mean? You need to wait. You need to grow a pair. That's my advice. Stop being fucking weak bitches. Get a safe flight vest, get you a gat, and fucking say what you was gonna say anyway. Um, but I went and sat down with my best friend and we looked at our finances. And I've been with my wife a decade. He was married for a decade. We're both homeowners. We both live in the same city. Our expenses line up pretty good, actually. So I would ask my audience, knowing nothing else about them, all of our expenses are the same. We're both homeowners. I've been with my wife 10 years. He was married for 10 years of that. But he has $150,000 more in debt. And I'm not talking about education debt. How? How, if our expenses are the same, in 15 years, how do two grown men have $150,000 difference in the amount of debt they have? The rising cost of healthcare. So I'm a disabled veteran, and for the last 17 years, I have not paid for healthcare. Why? Because I'm healthy. I'm young. I don't have any health problems. So when you don't have any health problems and you're a disabled veteran, you can just go to the VA for an annual. They're going to take your blood sample and they're going to ask you if you're feeling all right. And I'm like, the world's fucking falling apart. What do you want me to do about it? And they're like, you seem to be in high spirits. Esprit de corps, fucking Marine Corps. Good to go. I'm not joining any political party. I'm vetting people. That's what I'm offering to do instead of join someone else's shit show where we don't know where the money's coming from. My focus is on finding a treasurer, finding someone who will be a fiduciary, so that we can monitor money going in. But yeah, I'm not joining anyone's anything. Nope. Never the fuck again. We're going to align with the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, but that's a fundraising organization. That's not a political party. In the United States, there are only four parties: Democrat, Republican, Green, and Libertarian, right? Or Green and Independent. Okay. There is no socialist party, and we got to say it. American Socialist Party. That's way better than anything else. I don't want to be anything else. You get what I'm saying? Like I want to work for the People's Party. What the fuck is that? How many elections has it won? Oh, okay. Well, if it's not aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America, which is winning 70% of elections it enters, it's wrong. if it's not aligned with unions, if it's not fomenting LGBTQIA plus protections, it's not a legitimate party. ASP has a nice ring to it too, because what is dangerous to a donkey and an elephant? A snake, the ASP, the People's Party, the Workers' Party is what I would call us. Yeah. And like I said, even the Democrats say themselves that they don't have a platform and they need a new identity. So you build the American Socialist Party, the Workers' Party. It's going to be wildly popular because I'm not doing this for selfish reasons. Yeah. Right? I'm not trying to run for office. I'm trying to break up the establishment. I'm trying to force them to figure it out. Like, are you going to keep taking money from Russia and Israel? If so, the Workers' Party is going to dominate every election. Every election. Because if my choices at the polls are to vote for some corporate fed fucking lawyer versus whoever the socialists vet and put up there, who's probably going to be a union leader and already a community leader, right? That's the correct thing to be doing in the face of fascism. And calling yourself socialists used to get you killed. So I don't know about you, but Niemöller's quote starts with first they came for the socialists. Like the socialists were who the Nazis went after first. So who do you build back first in the face of fascism? The Socialist Party. I'm telling you. Yep. Yeah, and for the record, let me make sure I say it out loud because I was ignoring the comments, S&M. I was ignoring the comments on TikTok because people were saying that they're going to get a check. First of all, I saw your dumbass saying that you're going to get a $5,000 check. First of all, it was an $8,000 check that was promised. So you've already got the numbers fucked up. One. And two, not going to fucking happen in a million goddamn years. Eight $8,000 times 335 million Americans is like trillions of dollars. He has not when the government saves money, that's not a good thing. I just want to point this out. I know I imagine I imagine Brasher, you probably booted him off the earth. But I got to make sure I say it into the camera. Like, hey, dum-dums, that's trillions of dollars if paid out to everybody. Not going to fucking happen. Not in this lifetime. I know that it sounded fucking great. I know that you were like, hell yeah, another stimulus check, which is hilarious. People complain about people being welfare queens, but that's what you want. You don't want socialism. You don't want zero cost healthcare. You don't want what if you think about this? What would you have done if there was no such thing as student loans? Go ahead and tell me in the chat comments, what would you have done if there were no student loans? If there was no such thing, if whatever you wanted to get educated for, you could have been educated for that. What would you have done? Looking back on it, I would have been a harder brain surgeon in a heartbeat. I have a steady hand and I'm calm. And I feel like if you have a steady hand and you're calm and you're willing to do the work, I could have been a fucking heart surgeon, brain surgeon. Could have done it. Not because I'm cocky. I just recognize like a couple of the skills that I would be fucking choice for a given vocation. Got a master's degree, bought a house sooner. Uh-oh. So I just want you to think about this, like how hard are you going to support socialism when I tell you, what if your grandkids don't know what student loans are? What if your fucking grandkids never get to complain about the rising cost of healthcare because my friend Jared fixed it? He got up in front of a podium, started a political party, and said, hey, The healthcare system in the United States is failing. Healthcare executives all over are not only getting fired, but they're also giving interviews in which they talk about how the American healthcare system is failing. So if the healthcare system is failing, and I can also tell you because I worked in healthcare for years, and so did my mother, okay? They already have socialized healthcare in the United States. You're just not poor enough or old enough to qualify for that. And that I think that if these healthcare companies want to succeed, they ought to make all of their dual special needs plans, all the plans that are meant for people that have Medicare and Medicaid, you make them publicly available. They cost $0 to the customer. They have no copay. They have no max out of pocket. In fact, they give you thousands of dollars a year for stuff like dental, vision, and hearing, and they'll even give you money for groceries and bills. So I just want to point out you get socialism if you're poor enough and old enough. They're trying to take that away. I think they should give it to everyone. What if you didn't have to look at your budget every month and budget for $300 for insurance for one person for healthcare? What if you didn't have to do that? I have a buddy of mine at work that works the same place I do that has 4 fucking kids. Okay? Our base pay is only $15 an hour. With tax, it's like $1,000 every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, he pays $600 for insurance. That's $1,200 a month for a family of 6. Now consider like your mortgage, all that shit. Understand that the classic economic theory of socialism demands the elimination of rent and interest. I haven't said taxes because then you get into this whole argument about how taxation is theft. I just happen to think taxes are supposed to pay for like roads and shit. So I'm not going to ascribe to eliminate the fucking tax system. Are you fucking kidding me? How about overhaul the tax system, make the fucking rich pay their fair share? What the fuck are we even talking about, right? But that said, you're thinking about, he said, medicine costs 125 grand a pop. I get it twice a year. Have zero ideas. I'll take socialism, right? Right? What if the government was supposed to use our tax money to pay your healthcare bill? Yeah, that's right. They already do. That's literally what happens when you get healthcare and you can't afford it, and so you turn your bill into the hospital. They just go to the state. So now that you know that, what if you could just put that money in your pocket and it wasn't derivative of your labor? See, that's the problem, is that we've been so brainwashed with this right versus left shit. Did you notice I ain't even touching right versus left shit? This is rich versus poor. The rich people in this country want to take all of the social safety nets away and turn us all into slaves through the prison system by imprisoning people they disagree with. Did you hear that Elon Musk or somebody threatened Elon Musk and they got arrested? So again, and I saw something that I haven't quite verified yet, where they um George Anderson, not really. What am I lying about there, brother? Um, but yeah, but know that people in this country are about people in this country, elected officials in this country are betting on the construction and use of federal prison to create I believe it's called is that caste society? Is that what that's called? Not really. But anyway, what I was thinking about, yeah, company towns. Jesus Christ. Yeah, someone threatened Elon Musk and they got arrested. So you'll notice one of the things that I don't do is you don't hear me talking to Trumpers. I don't make, hey, this is for Trumpers. And I also don't advocate for violence against people. There are people out there that are absolutely like uh advocate of violence. I just know that you don't maximize your movement's potential by advocating for violence. And it's not that I don't think violence is effective. Okay? Violence is very effective. It's just not how a political movement works. Not a socialist one anyway. The problem isn't being afraid of violence. I tell people to stay ready, right? And to stay prepared. And by the way, I saw a demonstration that I can't look away from. Safe light. People were asking me about getting a little bit of BA, um, safe light. I saw a safe light demo. What you need right there. Okay. Probably a few hundred to 600 bucks. Cool. I will have one. Here we go. My wife will have one. I would get that before I would be get too wrapped up in the pew pew game because there's too many people that as soon as they feel oppressed, they just straight up went out and got a gat and it's which is what? It's a bulletproof vest. The reality is most of these uh wannabe Trumpers are gonna shoot you probably with smaller than 9 mil. And so if you wear a vest, you'll survive the encounter. And then my advice is never fire anything smaller than 9 mil. And so now you get it. I'm telling you, they're gonna shoot you with a 22. You're gonna have a vest on. It's gonna bounce off. You're gonna turn fire with a 9 or better. Get the fight over with. Good to go. I'm a big fan of what's that brand? I'm trying to remember. Who's a Democrat? I'm founding the American Socialist Party. Maybe see your way out. Lucky. And by the way, calling me a Democrat when Republicans are fucking traitors and fucking insurrectionists and seditionists is wild. Oh, you're a Democrat? Like that's an insult, bitch? Like the fuck? That part. Yeah. Take away the anxiety of no food, no medicine, no home, just enjoy life. I don't know what the problem is. Yo, you know what the truth is? And nobody's saying it. Nobody's saying it. You know what's going to happen in our lifetimes? I'm only 40. Climate change is going to dry out our soil, make trees die, and you're going to die because you can't feed yourself. So you should learn how to grow food so that by the time that happens, you've figured out vertical growth, hydroponics, self-watering, like so if I'm already telling you because of climate change and where we live in the United States and it drying out and there not being enough water now, you need to collect rainwater, build a hydroponic system that'll water your garden that you need to grow now, and you desperately need socialism so that you don't have to worry about getting fucked over on rent, so that when you go to the doctor you don't become broke, and so that if you were to ever decide to become educated you don't have to worry about the cost. You can just go to class, focus on your class and your grades, right? Instead, from the time you graduate high school, think about what happens, right? You get inundated with debt, right? So you got to get student loans to go to school. You got to get credit cards to pay for books, right? Then you meet someone else, right? You have a child. You know what the biggest strain on a woman's body is? Childbirth. Did you know, and correct me when I'm wrong, isn't it like you're 78% more likely to get cancer after you've given birth? So, like, think about that. And that's if you're in a heterosexual relationship normally. So, love my LGBTQ friends, but in this specific example, we're talking about like a woman and a man. You have children with them. That immediately now you have healthcare costs, right? So you both have student loans. You both took out credit cards to survive. Then you married someone, had fucking kids, bought a house, bought cars. Sounds an awful lot like interest is a big factor in your life. Hey, the economic theory of socialism eliminates interest. You ever wonder why there's no socialist party in the United States? Because there's no fucking grift. We're the anti-grift party. We're saying taxes, interest, and rent are your problems. Those are your problems. Socialism's great till you run out of other people's money. Actually, you're wrong. It would only cost about $2,000 a year to each person in their taxes. It would save the average household $8,000 a year, and that's a low end estimate. I'm being kind with that estimate, and I went through multiple sources to derive at that number. $8,000 a year, only going to cost you $2,000 on the back end. Or we could just federally legalize cannabis. Then you're all dopers anyway. We're all smoking anyway. The fuck do you care if it's federally legal? Is that going to change what you do? No. You're still going to go to the same fucking person or the same fucking smoke shop to get your shit. Hey, the difference is when it's federally legalized, they got to pay taxes on it. See, the problem is taxes, interest, rent. Find a different way to make money. How about actually producing something, right? That's one of the things that always bothered me, right? I told you about Uncle Terry, right? My wife's uncle is like the most successful person I know, and he was in the Marine Corps infantry. He owned multiple houses, owned multiple businesses. In fact, when he died, like 5 different families got a house for free. Plus, he owned a bar that still exists. Terry fucking hated being a landlord, and he hired companies, people to work his properties so that he didn't actually have to. How did we get restricted? For what? What did we get restricted for? What was I saying? I don't know. I don't know. What was I saying that we get restricted for? Was it the weed talk? Was it talking about? Nah. All right, hold on. We got to reboot. What a wild ride. You think it was the weed talk? Yeah. So, if you federally legalize it, you give an opportunity to the populace to grow your own. And I'm thinking if you can make hemp or cannabis your cash crop in the United States with the climate drying out already, it's a crop that needs heat and it needs it to be dry to grow. And if we can turn that into our cash crop, I'm thinking it might turn enough people into gardeners where people just grow these lush gardens in their yard, and it has an impact globally on, first of all, I think and I'm hoping with my platform in my lifetime that gardens become the new Ferraris. I know it sounds fucking crazy, but like when I was a kid, all men cared about was their hot rod, their fucking car. And I happen to think as I get older and I think about like how can I fuck this system up? I could grow a kick-ass garden and have a badass yield and give it away and encourage my neighbors to grow a garden too and figure out what they're good at and what I'm good at and create ourselves our own little neighborhood market where everybody in the neighborhood has a garden, everybody's good at growing different shit because of the way their land's positioned, and I just happen to be at the top of the hill with a big part of my front yard sitting in the sun all day. Rather than use my shitty soil here in Indiana, we have shit for soil. And if you live in a residential neighborhood, you can't hardly fucking dig a garden anyway because you've got pipes running all over the fucking place and wires running all over the fucking place. So I have to use growers, right? So that's what I'm using my money for. So for the record, whenever I've asked you for money and I didn't have an expressed need for money, any money I make, that's what I want. I don't want to call, I want to work and buy my car of my dreams. I don't want like the money for something I'm doing like this to pay for anything other than seeds. You know what I mean? Maybe a tarp because I'm going to have to build my growers because I'm a massive person. So I have to build big ass growers because otherwise I can't use a 2 foot fucking grower. I did find a 4 foot tall, but somebody said plastics. Not good. You got to use wood, and cedar is what you're supposed to use. Well, good luck finding big ass slabs of cedar that aren't a zillion fucking dollars. So, yeah, I mean, everybody, you know, what are we supposed to do? The trees are not taking in as much oxygen, so planting and growing trees isn't as viable as it was. Gardens, beautiful, lush gardens can absolutely have a big impact. Because if you haven't noticed, as you get older, it gets harder to breathe. The air quality has definitely gone down as I've gotten older, especially with in the last several years with all these fires in Canada and California. It's blanketed the sky and made the air outside basically unbreathable. Right? I can't imagine living there. Right? Nice. I've never grown stuff because I have animals. So you can't really have like indoor plants and indoor animals, especially when you work from home and can't like babysit the house. Interesting. I'm gonna grow strawberries in a raised bed. I gotta grow what we eat. Kamala Harris signed with CAA. So good morning, everybody. We've had to restart the TikTok a couple times. Oh, you know what I saw that was hilarious? So Marco Rubio was giving commentary in which he said China and Brazil, who were existing trade partners already, have now an exclusive trade partnership. And Marco Rubio was like, China went around the United States to get to Brazil. And it's like, did y'all forget BRICS exists? Like the fuck? Huh? He signed with CAA. So she signed with a highly respected agency to work with speaking engagements. I just like the headline. Musk and Trump are causing the dumbest imperial collapse in history. That's a great that's a great title of an article. There a lot of people are calling for spontaneous protest in Washington D.C. So if you've got it in you, if you are so incensed at what happened last night, here's my thing. I'm gonna say it with my whole chest. If what happened last night, if what Donald Trump did last night, if you aren't just as upset as Donald Trump saying Ukraine started their war with Russia, if that doesn't piss you off, because it's fucking not true, and because Russia invaded the much smaller fucking Ukraine and got their ass kicked. Good to go. If that doesn't piss you off, because there are a lot of people have died and like whole homes and communities have been destroyed. Like, what's going on? Right? If you're not as pissed off at that as you are at his dumbass executive order power grab, okay? Understand understand that executive orders aren't law, meaning, yeah, I get it, it's shitty. You had a little press conference where he just completely let you down again. Where he said Ukraine started the fucking war with Russia, which is hilarious. They got invaded. And by hilarious I mean not. And then Donald Trump put out an executive order basically that says only the president and the attorney general can decide what the law is. Uh, the dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire fucking life. It completely sidesteps the judiciary branch of the government, whose fucking job is to determine what the laws are. So I know a lot of people are upset about that. Um, but know that it's gonna get struck down by a federal judge, like all the other shit. And I get it. It's super fucking triggering. Filling all my pro per paperwork, pay money, no. Yeah. So know that that's not gonna stick. That it's a serious thing. It is clearly a power grab. But that's not how it works. That's what's starting to bother me. When you sign an executive order and a judge strikes it down, and your reaction to that is to say, well, they're not going to follow it. How exactly are they going to make it law and make it do anything if a judge said that's illegal and it's not a law? Like how do they enforce it? Like how like when people say they're not going to follow that, it's like how are they going to enforce it then? Right. So the judiciary is still going to do judiciary shit. Donald Trump doesn't have any clue. You know what I mean? I understand trying to withhold. Oh, there's already people that haven't got their social security checks. So remember when I told you when the to let me be your barometer. And I told you when you start taking social security away and Medicare and Medicaid, those are the majority of Trump voters, okay? So you might want to let some people know. I mean, you're going to hear from people when they don't get their social security check. They're going to start talking. Okay. And I'm just starting to hear the whispers. Hey, my social security didn't hit. Hmm. Banks aren't safe either. You need to get all your money to credit unions. Banks are collapsing. My wife and I are going to do that. Okay. So I know a lot of people out here will tell you to do shit and they're never going to do it themselves. Hey, right along with my wife and I are getting away from PNC this weekend. Okay. You need to participate in the Great Tech Rebellion. That's what I'm calling it. Why is it great? Because it's not just one application. I'm begging you to get off of Facebook. Get off Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Twitter, Amazon. Get off that shit. But most importantly, if you're going to listen to anything that I tell you, if you're going to listen to anything I tell you, get the fuck off of Messenger. Facebook Messenger is one of the most pervasive applications on your phone. Okay? The problem, since Donald Trump has been in office the second time, we've had multiple like false charges out of our bank account. Now, I'm not saying correlation's causation. I'm just telling you what's happened. So we've had a couple fraudulent charges since Donald Trump's been elected. We're gonna move our money to a credit union. So yeah, yeah, yeah. What was I even talking about? Oh, the Great Tech Rebellion, and Messenger specifically. Messenger will share your location. That means with police and feds. And it's not that you naturally are trying to get away from them, you just don't know which kind they are. And so naturally, having an application on your phone, which they could just find your location off of that app. Also, it has access to your microphone and camera without you being in the app. Hello? With Facebook Messenger, they can just start recording. And also, and again, I actually think this is the worst thing that Facebook Messenger does, but apparently not everybody else. What Facebook Messenger does, it takes the context of your conversations, is it uses it to shape the algorithm on all those other applications that I told you to fucking stop using that shit, yo. They're using your conversations to market to you. They will give your location away, and they have access to your microphone and your camera. That's 3 strikes, you're fucking out. Get that shit off your phone. And I'm talking about Facebook Messenger. Okay? Now, this isn't to say that there aren't other pervasive applications. So I don't want you to sit here and be like, they're all bad. It's like, there are ranges to that. And I think when you're the biggest one and also bad, that's got to go. Gotta go. Now, I didn't say delete your account. I didn't say delete your account. I said delete the app from your phone. Get it the fuck off your phone. You want to know what the worst problem about Facebook Messenger? I have people in my comment sections that couldn't get it off their phone. No matter what they did, they couldn't delete Facebook Messenger. I don't know about you, but if I've ever heard of a program, burp, that I couldn't delete from my phone, oh, honey, I would be getting a new phone. Sorry about you. Okay? So there's a rhyme to the reason. I'm not one of these people to sit here and blow smoke. Like, there's a reason I called it the Great Tech Rebellion. There's a reason I said get rid of Facebook, Threads, IG, Messenger, WhatsApp, Twitter, Amazon. Get that shit off your fucking phone yesterday. Okay? Start shopping local. Start eating local. Stop eating at these chain restaurants. Stop shopping at these chain stores. Return to thrift shopping. Gonna go save your fucking money. This is not the time to be spending unless it's on self protection, unless it's on self defense. And again, I've told you well before you ever pick up a pew pew, you should be looking into a vest. Safelite. I recommend Safelite. I watched a demonstration. I watched some dude punch a bunch of rounds into a Safelite vest and didn't go through the vest. So, and people are asking. I would rather you get a riot shield before you get too into pew pews. You know what I mean? Defend the initial assault and then move into the assault, you know, the assault pattern, right? Just too often people are too ready to be on offense when you're probably going to start on defense. That's usually how I don't know how many John Wick movies you've seen, but didn't they kill his dog? Yeah, that's how that shit started. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you go into the confrontation and you were like planning for that and prepared for that, like you're no better than a mass shooter. It's just facts. Like, if you say I'm going to stand my ground and defend myself, that's different. That doesn't feel as weird, right? As unguided, right? And like I've told everyone since I started having this show, you have you have to sleep 8 hours a night. So whatever you're doing during the day, it's got to lead you to restful sleep. And if you're not getting that, you need to get it. Good to go? Naps are fucking great for you. Take a fucking nap. Okay? Drink water. And as much as I say drink water, this is to ensure you have a clean water source. Okay? So by drinking water and sleeping 8 hours and eating right, you can exercise now because you're doing everything you need to do before you exercise. And if you're going to exercise, you might want to split your lift and your movement. Good to go? So this means lift in the morning, run or walk in the evening. Okay? Stay ready and you don't have to get ready. Okay? Because I know everybody's getting all amped up and now we're talking about spontaneous protest. Like I said, spontaneous protests, people aren't getting social security payments. Those two things right there, okay, are a firestorm for violence. It's just 100% times more likely when people haven't been getting their benefits and it's a spontaneous protest. So I would tell you, if you're feeling froggy and you're going to go spontaneous protest, be extra aware. And as I've said before, don't wear headphones so you could hear everything. Keep your head on a fucking swivel. Be aware of your fucking environment. Okay? Yeah, my phone is ringing all the time, scam calls too. Mask the fuck up, right? Hey, COVID's still a thing. Bird flu is fucking real. Okay? The flu is real. Okay? Get we believe in vaccines here. Yeah, I mean. I just want to point out people always lay mad respect on me for being on active duty in the Marine Corps infantry. But do you know what the most common act, the most non-violent thing to happen to me while I was on active duty that happened the most often? A non-violent thing that happened to me the most often while I was on active duty in the Marine Corps infantry. If you guessed immunization, you were fucking correct. It was not getting blown in public. So yeah, yeah, shots, bitches. Literally walk through a medical bay and just get. And guess what? I don't get sick ever. I've been out 17 years. Okay. Everybody, I'm questioning the virility of this. How good is this vaccine? The fuck are you talking about? The VA, when the COVID vaccine came out, the VA called me and it was a person. They don't ever call me. And they said, we need you here in the next 3 hours to take this COVID shot or we got to throw it away. And I was like, I'll fucking be there. So I just want to point out, you look at my medical history, I ain't never been to the doctor and been like, I have the flu. I have a cold. I'm sick. That has never happened. Now, can I see in 4 dimensions and also in the dark? Yes. So that was a joke. That was supposed to make you laugh. But like I said, people always are like super, oh, big ups, bro. You were in the fucking Marine Corps infantry. And it's like, if I told you I got a lot of shots, does that does being in the Marine Corps infantry like become less cool? Or you know, I'm not really sure how that works. Like you talk to people like I was in Marine Corps infantry and they're like, oh, that's like the hardest job in the world, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty fucking hard. I wasn't any good, and whatever. It's trying to not be a cocky hard ass right after you told them you were in the Marine Corps infantry, and then they so you stack a bunch of bodies, bro. You delusional fucking psychopath. Do you know that like 1.5% of all the people that have ever worked have been in the military, have seen combat? 1.5%. So it's 98% of the time, civilian life is harder. No, mm, nah. Being a civilian's easy. You're not a target. No, civilian life is fucking easy. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't like your job, you just get another one? You don't like where you live, you just move on your whimsy? You can do whatever the fuck you want with your money? Oh, yeah, so you weren't saying like you were in the military and it was easy. You were saying that like being a civilian's easier than being in the military. Yeah, I don't even want to be friends with you. Cool. Chris Grogan? No. Nope. Nope. I know just as many people that were in the military till they couldn't walk, and you don't see me sitting here saying, "Oh, being in the military was the hardest shit ever." The fuck out of here. You know what happens? You know what happens? I'll tell you what happens. As soon as men graduate from high school, unless they're getting something out of it, they don't play sports or exercise. That's what fucking happens. See, what happens is when you're in high school, tell me I'm wrong. Your fucking high school football coach told you wasn't ever gonna be shit. So the second you fucking put on that goddamn cap and gown, you never fucking set foot in a fucking gym again in your life, and you had to use your goddamn body to do your goddamn job for however long it fucking took until your body broke. Cause you ain't an athlete. That's the fucking problem. It's not the military. Your beef ain't with the military. You understand? Like when I was on active duty in the Marine Corps, if you wasn't shooting something, we were lifting and running. We were exercising and or eating. Or eating. There's a big impetus on eating. So I'm always going to defend. I'm going to be very defensive about people comparing, right? They say comparison is the thief of joy. Do you understand? And so if you sit around and say, when somebody's talking about, I was on active duty in the Marine Corps Infantry during a time of war, I was in 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines Weapons Company, the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history, you cannot compare me to you. If you were in the military and you just heard what I said, you know I'm fucking right. 2-2 was the most combat deployed unit ever. Ever. In any branch. That's where I went to work. With people that had been there, done that, got the fucking t-shirt. And I always tell people, I'm not a war hero. That's not the fucking story. That's not the story. The story is it's incomparable. Not that they shouldn't be compared. It's incomparable. It's not even close. Not even close. Hard? What is difficult? You have to determine what is difficult. Not everything that's difficult to you was difficult to me. I actually thought being in the military was fucking easy. Because it's when you get a good order, you have good orders, good leadership, you get good results, you didn't get fucked with. Yeah, I had good orders. I My leadership was fucking on one. You know what I'm saying? Like my captain was Brian Stan, who fought in the fucking UFC, played linebacker at Naval Academy. He was a Silver Star. That was my boss. And before that guy, I had a guy that had been in the Marine Corps for 5 years. He was a staff sergeant. He was about 6'3", 240. He was on the silent drill team when he first came into the fleet, and then he was in fast company. So as I said, my leadership in the fucking Marine Corps was wired the fuck tight, and because my leadership was wired the fuck tight, that shit was cake, baby. Everywhere we went, Malat, how you doing? Absolutely motherfucking wonderful. Not a day missed. But being a civilian, you have all of the things that I didn't have to carry. Like the weight of a mortgage, the weight of your student loans, of your kids, right? Shit, Austin. So I'm the one saying it's not even close, not comparable, because everyone's experience in the military and in the civilian world is completely different. So I'll say this. There was some people that being in the Marine Corps was too much for them. Yep. There was people that you know what breaks people? Are you ready for this? You know what really breaks people and makes them fucking leave the military, leave good jobs too? Hurry up and wait. I talked to my wife about this a lot in life, about having to be like prepared constantly, right? That's why I say stay ready as opposed to get ready, right? So like I said, people say shit like civilian life is harder. It's all a matter of your perspective. And I like I said, there's many people the hurry up and wait, the full speedness. You know, one of the things that you realize when you're doing so you had to do these drills where you had to fireman's carry your buddy, right? So you had to literally scoop your boy up and fucking run like 2 football fields carrying a 200-pound person, right? I didn't have a problem with that shit. That's not what broke me. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't the physical shit. Somebody told me to push, I just push. Are you fucking serious? Our interactions, me just getting better. Just getting better. Fucking thank you. You want to give me push-ups? That's a great thing to do. You're just helping me. You're helping me. If we ever get in a fight, I just hit you harder. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll push all day. What the fuck are you talking about? Obviously I'm fucked up. My brain is absolutely cooked. But I had a great time. Yeah. I think being in the military made being a civilian easy. I think civilian life was tough before I was in the Marine Corps. Like so it was tough being a civilian because when you're a civilian, you want friends. Like you want to build a community, right? But then once you serve your fucking country and you come back home, right? I hope it gets easier for you cuz now you've gone off and done something, you come back, you have a little more credibility with your was your downfall. My battle buddy got murdered and they medically separated me against my will 6 months after he died. To the pretty much to the day. In fact, they let me go home like 5 days early. Yeah, so he actually died. We both got hurt during the workup for the 26 Mu. So we went on the boat. We were aboard the USS Baton. We were at sea. We'd cut away. We're doing the whole thing. We're Marines on a boat, right? And about 9 days in, they told us to take our shit out to the flight deck, and they put us on a what are those called? Sea night. I think that's the only time I ever got to ride a Navy helicopter. They put me and RJ in a sea night and flew us back to Bethesda, Maryland, and where they looked at us basically because they sent us on deployment with broken bones. So like people are gonna get in trouble, right? So I had broken my shoulder and spent half of the from August 26, 2006 till the fucking workup ended. I was in a fucking sling with a broken arm, and RJ had blown his knee during the hump right before they went on leave. And I went like 6 months without surgery, which is why I have like long-term injury. RJ had blown out his knee, still had to wait like 90 days to get his surgery. And our surgeries were like late February. And then what happens is when you get surgery on active duty, they give you what's called convalescent leave. So you get to go home for like a month. Obviously, because you just had like surgery, man. Like you're not going to be working. Were they going to let you sit in the barracks all doped up for a month? Uh, so they send you home. So I went and lived with my actual brother for a month and partied with him, and I had to go to physical therapy and shit like that. And then I was just doing what you're supposed to do. I think I had 3 physical therapy appointments a week and 1 phone call that I had to make. I think that was the requirement. It could be 2 in a phone call, but god damn it. So yeah, I like the idea of compulsory service. I think a lot of people do though. I think a lot of people want to serve and can't. You got to understand attrition. So even the people that really want to do it can't do it. You know, one of the things they always tell us at boot camp is note the number of people that start and finish a cycle, and it'd be like you start with 100, finish with 50, right? So keep that in mind too. Like compulsory service sounds fucking great, but even the people that want to do it quit. So anyway, so what happened was is because of we were on convalescent leave at the same time. RJ went home. He went to Fort Myers, Florida. I went back to Indianapolis, Indiana. So after towards the end of the 30 days, my command says you're doing so good there in Indy, we're going to give you another month of convalescent leave. And I was like, "Oh, fucking sweet." So I just kept doing what I was doing, going to the gym. I was going to the Gold's Gym. I was going to physical therapy. I was doing my weekly phone call to check in and shit. I was doing what you're supposed to do. They let me stay an extra month. RJ died in the second month of convalescent leave. Um, they said that he used cocaine. He was on prescription drugs and he drank alcohol, and that he essentially they said that he killed himself. Okay. So I went to his UCMJ trial posthumously. They gave him an other than honorable. Essentially, it was like destruction of government property type shit. And for a decade, man, for a decade, I operated as though my battle buddy had killed himself. So just so everybody understands, I was pretty beat up that shit. I mean, I want to say I slept through a paper wall while him and his wife fucked, but that's not necessarily how you talk about how close you are to somebody. I told him to get a fucking room. Um, sorry, I gotta make it funny when it's weird. But yeah, so I lived for a decade. I was a real hard drinker. I was having a real hard fucking time, kids. For like a decade. I went in 2013. I went to the VA and was like, I'm all fucked up. Like, you gotta help me. And they basically said that my PTSD didn't count because RJ didn't die in Iraq. So I was like, oh fuck, that fucking killed me, right? In 2018, so I had been out for like 11 years. RJ's wife calls me. Her name's Paola. And if you ever are on Facebook, you can find RJ Rady. You can find him, and there's a Facebook group for him. Okay. And his wife calls me and she says, "Hey, we've worked with the Wounded Warrior Project and we struck out." And so RJ's family had went to Wounded Warrior Project. As his spouse, she'd gone to Wounded Warrior Project just to get his other than honorable turned over and turn it into an honorable discharge. And the rule of Wounded Warrior Project is if there's not money involved, they're not going to get involved. Does that make sense? They have attorneys. Like, we're trying to do important work, and to use an attorney to do something that doesn't actually have a benefit to you. So she tells me that we struck out with the Wounded Warrior Project. Will you help? And so I did a lot of soul searching and try to figure out. Obviously, I found out that RJ was murdered rather than unalived himself, right? And so because I'd found out that, I've been telling people it's like being in a fresh new hell where now every day I wake up and I'm like, how can I make this happen for him? Like, how can I do something with my life that will force them to overturn that? And for a while I wanted to be a football coach. And I thought like football was my longest relationship. I played after high school. I played while I was on active duty. I came home and played in flag football leagues that played in Lucas Oil, right? I've been training for years to do it with a 501c3 that's run by former NFL coaches. So it's not like I don't have a background, right? But then, long story short, like the last 4 months, not only did I find this community that we've built, but my purpose has changed, right? Like I don't even see being a football coach as like the goal now. Now I'm like, I need to start the American Socialist Party. Like this country deserves a pro-union party built on equality, right? Like that's a workers' party. You know what I mean? We need that in this country. And I just happen to have the fucking resume that the party will stand up, not because of me, not because of who I am personally. That's not what I'm saying, but because of who I am. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm not only an Eagle Scout, I'm Order of the Arrow, which is the highest honor you can get in Boy Scouts, even beyond being an Eagle Scout. I was in the Marine Corps infantry, right? During a time of war. So a lot of people's beef is like, uh, if you were in the military but you didn't serve during a time of war, or you're not a combatant, then somehow your service is denigrated, right? It doesn't mean as much. And I don't fucking believe that. In fact, some of the shittiest people I've ever met in my life are combat vets. Some of the worst fucking people you'll ever meet in your life, combat vets. And some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life weren't in the shit. So I've definitely met like horrific fucking people that will be the first people to tell you that they popped off and busted a bunch of grapes and shit. And you're just like, what the fuck? Being proud of that outside of the confines of the military is wholly inappropriate. So that I've also said that out loud. But yeah, that happened. And so I am motivated intrinsically. I don't have to, one of the things about this show is that I don't have to get paid to want to be here. Does that make sense? I'm not begging for subs. I'm not telling you to support my Patreon. I do have a Venmo and a PayPal and a Cash App, but I don't hit y'all up for money all the time and shit. Is because I'm not motivated that way. Look at Steve. Active 84 to 88, reserves from 9002, never served in combat. See? And I say that shit about combat because I was in the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history, and I can't tell you how badly it fucks people up forever. And they're unlike the person they were when they left. And I can't imagine wanting to put that person in leadership when they go and have their little stressful adventure, and then they come back and they're nothing like what they were. And it has a chance of completely ruining who you are as a person, right? Yeah, I have other fucking goals now. Yeah, like I said, I used to just want to be a high school football coach, and I'm a fucking great coach. So don't get it fucking twisted. In my third game as a high school offensive coordinator, we had 500 yards of offense. I was the offensive coordinator. I was the one calling the fucking plays. I know what the fuck I am doing. It's just that I can't sit around and think about what has happened and think like red versus blue is going to work out in the future. We've been in that mode for so fucking long where it's like our values are different and they're just fucking not. I hope that helps. I honestly, I certainly hope when you listen to me, I hope that's helpful to you. That a lot of people see shit red versus blue and it's not that fucking way. It may feel that way. It's rich versus poor. You've just been lied to. And I know you want to hate the guy to your right and left. I know you do. I know you think about it's true. I know you think about, oh, if I was in the service and I knew the guy to the right and my left and I didn't agree politically, I wouldn't defend him. I'd shoot him in the back, right? And it's like that shit doesn't even matter, man. That's not even a thought process. So listen to did I share Did I share the Eagles? I didn't mean to do that. I meant to share Eat the Rich. And my favorite part about people saying like if you're not a combat veteran, other veterans won't take you seriously. And I always get to say that's hilarious because I worked armed security before I joined the Marine Corps and I got shot and shot at in my own home city. I didn't have to go overseas to find the fight. It was in my hometown and I have the scars to prove it. What the fuck? What the fuck does not being a combat vet in the military have to do with anything? Things never go back to the way they were. Ain't that the Ain't that the truth? So I appreciate you all. Sorry we had to restart today. We were really under fire for having what I thought was a pretty tame conversation. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Okay, I gotta go to work.